Hello, fourth grade. Today we're going to take a look at days 1 and 2 of both reading and writing because they are linked to the same text. So let's look at day 1, reading. So readers look for important information while they read nonfiction based on certain criteria. We're going to use the questions on the event card on the determining importance slides below as you complete today's assignment. We're going to read today's passage, which is also the passage for day 2. For both reading and writing, which is being an environmental advocate during COVID-19. Look for the answers to the event questions as you read. Highlight your answers as you read and jot down your answers on slide 10. So I'm going to help you out with the highlighting. I'm going to have you do the answering of the questions, of course. So when we go back through the determining importance slides, they told us to look at the event. So over here, our event, these are the questions we're listening for. Who did this event happen to? When did it happen? Where did it happen? What happened? Why is it important to me or other people? So we're going to be listening for those as Mrs. Kite reads out loud. Right away, we have an infographic. So the title is Being an Environmental Advocate During COVID-19. An infographic is a combination of pictures and words that teach us something. So here in this column, we see that make less plastic waste. It helps protect animals and marine life. We see here a metal bottle, metal straws, a little straw cleaner. And we see here a bird who's over with a plastic bottle. And that's not what we want, right? Over here in column 2, we have save electricity by unplugging unused electronics. So here we see that it uses fewer fossil fuels, which create pollution. So we see pollution here coming out of the factories, but we see here somebody unplugging a device which helps out with that pollution. Column 3 is rinse before you recycle. It keeps other recyclable items from being contaminated. So up here we're rinsing out our bowls, our cups, our bottles, whatever is recyclable. Down here you can see that if they're not rinsed out, that they can add contaminants to others. The caption, and this is an important text feature, and the caption is text underneath a picture that tells us more. There are 3 easy ways to help the planet. Creating less plastic waste helps protect animals and marine life. Limiting electricity use reduces fossil fuel pollution. Rinsing recyclables keeps other items from being contaminated. If you need to pause and study this, remember to come back through here. This year is the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, which is a day to celebrate the environment. I think that Earth Day, being a day to celebrate the environment, is something important. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight that. The first Earth Day was in the United States on April 22nd, 1970. It involved 20 million people. Today, 193 countries celebrate Earth Day worldwide. Wow, that seems like a big deal. I'm going to highlight that too because that seems important and something I'll want to remember for later. Right now, a disease called COVID-19 is spreading around the world. To stay safe, much of the world has to stay home to avoid spreading the disease. Even though you're staying indoors, you can still be an environmental advocate. Read on to learn how. I think it's very important here that COVID-19 is spreading around the world. I think it's also very important that much of the world has to stay home to avoid spreading the disease. We know that we're all doing that, and that's why we're not in school right now, but I think it's important for us to remember for this story as well. So our first heading here says I lost my slide. Join a digital strike or do citizen science. So here we have the Earth Day Network manages Earth Day events each year. Before the COVID-19 outbreak, it had planned a number of outdoor events. Now with the pandemic happening, it has gone digital. It is doing online discussions and live streamed events. So I think here that the Earth Day Network being who manages the Earth Day events is really important. And here, the fact that they had to change its plans, that it's now doing online discussion and live streamed events is important. We know that a lot of things has changed to streamed events. The organization created an Earth Challenge 2020 app, which you or someone in your family can download for your smartphone. It allows people to document the environmental conditions in their community. This is an example of citizen science. It is when the general public volunteers to monitor and collect data that can be used in scientific research. So I think that's important because that defines what citizen science is. So we also want to highlight here that there is a 2020 app, and that's how people are completing citizen science. All right, let's continue. Other activists are encouraging people to make their voices heard on social media. Greta Thunberg is a 17-year-old climate activist. She suggests posting a photo on social media and using hashtags. Some examples include hashtag digital strike and hashtag climate strike online. So this is important as well, I think, that other activists are encouraging people to make their voices heard on social media. So they're encouraging people to start persuading other people to make change. All right, our next heading here says, reflect on the resources you use. Every day, people use resources like food, electricity, and heat to maintain daily life. It might seem like these habits don't relate to the natural world, yet our actions as individuals and as a society can impact the environment. I think this is very important to keep in mind as we go forward, that our actions have an impact. Katie Lyons is a research scientist. She works at the Georgia Aquarium in Atlanta, Georgia. Normally, she is out in the oceans off the coast of California and Georgia. She studies how pollutants are harming the sharks and rays. Yet, like the rest of us, she is staying at home and working from there to avoid spreading COVID-19. Lyons has seen the effects of pollution on wildlife firsthand. She suggests reflecting on the resources you use and considering how you can get by with less. This might mean turning off the lights or powering down electronics when they aren't in use. These actions save electricity. So here we know that she's seen the pollution of wildlife firsthand, and this is her suggestion, that we try to consider how we can get by with less. And I like these suggestions: turning off the lights, powering down electronics. These actions save electricity. So there's a lot of highlighting there, but I think they're very important. Let's continue. Saving electricity can help burn fewer fossil fuels like coal and gas. These gases are often burned to produce electricity and power cars, trucks, ships, and planes. When the fuel burns, it creates carbon dioxide gas. This gas gets trapped in the atmosphere and warms the planet. So here I think it's important to remember that saving electricity can help us burn fewer fossil fuels. And that when fuel burns, it creates the carbon dioxide gas, and this helps warm our planet overall. Next, refine your recycling habits. We make a lot of trash. According to the EPA, Americans produce 268 million tons of trash in 2017. Guys, one ton is equal to 2,000 pounds. That's a lot of trash. This works out to be about 4 5/10 pounds or 4.5 pounds of trash per person per day. That's a lot of trash we're generating. Much of our trash can be recycled. Before I continue, we want to go ahead and we're going to highlight just that we make a lot of trash, because I think that is the important part of that. So much of our trash can be recycled. I think this is important too, to keep in mind that some of the stuff we can throw away can be recycled and used again. Kara Napolitano works at the Sims Municipal Recycling Facility. It is in Brooklyn, New York. It's the largest recycling facility of its kind in the country. It receives up to 1,000 tons of recyclables a day. That's about 200 school buses worth of recyclable paper, plastic, glass, and metal. That's a lot, guys. Napolitano is the education and outreach coordinator. She's a big advocate for recycling and helps organize field trips for about 6,000 students each year. They tour the facility, and while field trips are on hold because of COVID-19, there are still things students can do from home. And I think this is an important idea, is that we can still do things from home. Even doesn't matter how old we are. We can still accomplish something. Napolitano advises everyone to understand what can and cannot be recycled. Cities and towns have websites that list the kind of items that they accept so you can know before you throw, she says. All right, so I think that's important, is that we have to understand what can and cannot be recycled. Some areas, like New York City, accept food containers that have some food in them, but other facilities want you to rinse your plastic, metal, and glass. Avoid putting plastic grocery bags into the recycle bin. We call them tanglers, she says. That is because they can clog the recycling machines. Our final heading is keep going. We don't know how long the COVID-19 pandemic will last, but you can use this time at home to learn and practice new habits. When things get back to normal, you'll be a natural at helping to protect our planet. So now I'm going to go through each slide. First, I'm going to pull up our event card. If you're doing this on it, who did this event happen to? Who are the people it happened to? When did it happen? Where did it happen? What happened? Why is it important to other people? If you need to go back through and look at it again, going to take a second and you can pause the video here for page 1, here for page 2, here for page 3, page 4, page 5. All right, and here if you need to look at the questions. Okay, so those are the questions. Now, look at what kind of writing we were going to do for day 1 really quickly. Sorry, my computer's running a little slow. So this might be in 2 parts because we're almost at 15 minutes. Because that article is really long, wasn't it? All right, so our day 1 writing, we were going to write a brief journal entry that explains the main idea of the reading passage, being an environmental advocate. So the article is on your slides if you're doing the writing, so you can reread it before you complete your entry. You have to have 3 details to support your response, so it's just like doing main idea notes. So what you're going to do is, the main idea is, and then you're going to list 3 details, and they're going to be in complete sentences, guys, because it's a journal entry. Detail 1, that supports your main idea. Detail 2, and detail 3. And right here, down here, I'm going to write it in all caps, complete sentences. Okay. Now let's go back and look at what the reading for day 2 was. All right, so day 2, we reread the whole thing, of course, and we had to then write a journal entry about what was the author's purpose for writing the text, being an environmental advocate for COVID-19. For this, we need to remember our P-I, P-I-E, our pie, our persuade. This is to convince someone to do something. I is inform. This explains or teaches information to someone. And E is to entertain, and the whole purpose of entertaining is to have fun and to enjoy it. So to get us started, we're going to say the, sorry about that, guys. So to get started, we're going to say the author's purpose is to, and we're going to choose our P-R-I-or-R-E and write out the word. Don't do this. And then we know this because you're going to tell me how you know what the author's purpose is. All right, so I'd like to see 2 to 3 sentences on this, as would your teachers. Okay. And then the writing for day 2, if we look at it very, very quick, see if we have just enough time. All right, so for day 2 writing, you're going to make an environmental advocate poster. So your point here is to persuade someone to be an environmental advocate. Advocate means someone who helps. If you want to use Google Slides, make sure you use your insert image, search the web to find images you want, or to insert shapes to make drawings. Thank you so much, guys, for working with me, and I'll talk to you later.